So you want to save some money buying an Apple ecosystem going into 2023. Well, good news. Here are all of the things that I would buy if I were to build a set from scratch. And while we're building, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, iFixit. Let's start this ecosystem off with the hub around which we will fill everything in around it. Today, I'm going to say that the first thing you should buy if you are looking to get into Apple tech is the iPad Generation 9. Yes, I know there is a 10th generation iPad that has replaced this one that was released a few months ago, and it's fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's fine. However, the iPad Gen 9 is the last of what I would call the hyper value packing tablets from Apple. Now, that's a weird statement to make, but this just has so much in it. It's crazy. If you look across the board at the seemingly dozens of SKUs, you'll see that Apple's moved into updating all of the various iPad lines over the past year or so, and with those last round of updates, everything's gotten a pretty decent price bump. When I say decent, I don't mean it's like decent for our wallets, but I mean it's like decent as in an actual like value. But the iPad Gen 9 remains the king of that value, and here's a list of all the cool things that you get when you buy this. You get a newish 6-core A13 Bionic processor built on 7nm fabrication technology. Now that's not as fancy as the A16 or the new Apple M series computer chips, but it's still pretty powerful, especially for the price. You also get 64GB of storage. You'll get an incredible ultra-wide-angle front-facing camera, which is probably my favorite part of the whole iPad experience these days, and you get functionality with the first generation Apple Pencil without needing some sort of dongle. Cough cough, iPad Generation 10, right? Ugh. All of that, and it only costs you $329 brand new. Quick note, I have in the past built this sort of ecosystem from even older tech or more refurbished or used spots on the internet, but the first rule for today's video, it's gotta be something that you can buy new from the Apple website. I have previously used eBay listings or Amazon renewed listings, and we'll talk more about price at the end, but I've decided that those are too inconsistent. Like I make a video, then I go back and check a little bit later, and none of those prices are the same, and I want to maintain a level of consistency whenever you watch. You should absolutely look around before making a big purchase to find the best price, but for the numbers I display today, it'll be based on something a little more rock solid. Back to the iPad Gen 9, the best part about this is you get pretty much everything you would get from the Gen 10. You get a very fast, snappy feeling processor, you get the exact same iPad OS experience. Heck, you even get the newish, okay, it's not new as far as cutting edge tech features go, but in a more cosmic sense of time, it's like the blink of an eye ago. Basically came out yesterday. That's the ultra-wide-angle camera we already talked. I do think that spending a lot of money on an iPad is a bit outdated this day and age. I mean, see my Is the iPad Outdated video. But when it comes to budget, I do think that the family or student looking for something a little beefier than their phone, but you don't really want to spend all that money on a computer, that is the perfect use case with this, the cheapest of iPads. And what's really cool about this, if you do want to use this more of a computer, it can essentially become a little functional computer that fits into a lunchbox. But one of those cloth lunchboxes, I don't think this would do too well in a dinosaur hard plastic lunchbox. But let's say you don't have any ecosystem that you want to buy and you just want to fix your current equipment. Chances are a lot of your stuff is already hanging in really well, but you might need a new battery to keep up after all the charge cycles that it's gone through, or maybe you need a new hard drive. That's where today's sponsor iFixit can really come in and save you a ton of money. Let's take one of the earlier versions of the iPhone SE from 2020, for example. They have kits on their website today that will allow you to buy a brand new battery with all of the tools required to swap that battery out and very easy to follow along instructions. iFixit's all-in-one fix kits have the high quality parts and tools that you need to fix your iPhone, laptop, game consoles like the Nintendo Switch, even smartwatches. Combined with their free step-by-step guides, you'll have everything you need to do battery swaps, SSD upgrades, and more. Find your fix at the link below and use code EVERYDAYDAD. Moving on to the next section, what cheapest iPhone would I recommend to add to this cheap system? And here we're going to look at value, not just the lowest number that you can get in your cart at the end of the day, because I'm not going to go with the obvious choice here. That would be the iPhone SE because it's the cheapest phone you can get, but it's $429, right? So it's not overly expensive, but it's not the lowest price you could ever get on a cell phone ever. And I would upsell you to recommend the iPhone 13 mini. And this comes in at $599. For that extra money on the mini, you'll get so much more capability. I'm talking amazing. Not just okay, but actually amazing camera system. And that's really important if, like me and most folks, you use your cell phone as your primary or more likely only camera. You'll get a legit main camera that was introduced on the iPhone 12 Pro Max and a not too shabby ultra wide. I think All jokes aside, all the YouTube hyperbole aside, I think this might be the best camera ever made. And I include that over other pro-level cameras because as the mantra goes, the best camera is the one you have with you. Because of how small and compact this phone is, having that level of a camera, it sells the whole thing for me. It sold me back when the phone was first announced, and it continues to sell me almost a year later. This is the ultimate family outing picture snapper. That took me 5 takes to say. Now I will limit myself to 100 words gushing about it in this script today, but I have whole videos about me saying how good this is if you do want to see more. It is rocking the A15 processor, much like half of the iPhone 14 lineup. You get an amazing XDR display, decent battery life over the 12 mini. It's just an overall, it's such a good combination. I know Apple decided not to continue with the mini lineup after the 13, but this is just about the perfect phone in my book. You will miss out on some of the higher end screen tech from the Pro Max side of the house, but if you aren't some kind of tech spec obsessor, you absolutely will not be able to tell the difference. And is that screen difference really worth twice as much? Well, probably not, unless you are one of those tech spec obsessors. But if you are a tech spec obsessor, why did I write this script like this? If you are a tech spec obsessor, you probably wouldn't be looking for the cheapest ecosystem in the first place. The only knock that I would have against the 13 mini is probably the battery life, but much like its display, that is only a knock when you compare it against the, I guess we could call it obscene. It's just, the absolute crazy battery life of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. This will still get you through a whole day of use, so long as your whole day doesn't involve watching YouTube videos. But I guess if you are going to watch YouTube videos all day, you can watch my videos. Moving on from the iPhone into the next part of the system. And again, I'm not just going to go the cheapest here. I'm going to go with what's the best value. The cheapest are the AirPods Gen 2, which are pretty much the Gen 1 with a better charging case. If you are actually going to spend the money to buy a set of headphones, the extra $40 going with the AirPods Gen 3 is a far better use of money. One of the things you got to watch out for is you can spend money and not really get anything. And I'm not saying that you're not getting anything when you buy the AirPods Gen 2, but the value proposition of going from the Gen 2 to the Gen 3 is really worth that just minuscule amount of money. The Gen 3s get you better audio quality, and a lot, by a lot. It's not even close, and I'm not even an audiophile that really cares about impedance or other fancy audio terms. You get better battery life, better charging case, and for me personally, a better fitting set of headphones. And this is the tough part anytime we talk about AirPods, is it's always super subjective because there are some folks that they just will not fit. And the AirPods Gen 3, unlike the AirPods Pro, they do not come with adjustable ear cups to assist with that fit a little bit. Though, I was curious and I checked to see if you could get aftermarket tips or other fit assistant technology. And surprisingly enough, I don't know if you knew this, but I found out literally as I wrote this script, you can go on Amazon right now and get a set of silicone covers or little hooks. I guess little anchor hooks for your ears. You can get that for your AirPods today. Now, I've never used these before, so I'm not sure how well they work, but it's nice to know that third parties have recognized this issue and come to our aid. Seriously though, if you've ever used a set of these covers, let me know in the comments below because I am really curious about them now. Moving into the more active part of the ecosystem, we move over to the best wearable part of this system. Originally, I wrote the only wearable part, but I guess you wear the AirPods? What action do you do with headphones? Do you wear? Do you use? Are they set in your head? I don't actually know what it's called. In doing the research and planning for this script, I was planning on ditching the cheapest option here again and going with the Series 8 compared to the SE. But anymore, the Apple Watch SE is just such a fantastic value. It's got all sorts of features and it's almost half the price of the Series 8. So I'm gonna pop the Apple Watch SE on here as the best value. At $249, you get pretty much everything an Apple Watch can do. You get the same processor as the other watches, which, okay, that's not saying much because you don't need that much oomph for a watch, but it means you'll get software updates pretty much as long as the other watches do. You'll get 18 hours of battery life. You'll get the second generation heart rate monitor. And we're saying you'll get again. You get nougat. Now I'm hearing nougat in my head. Really, when you look at the overall spec layout, the only two things that you were missing, an extra GPS band, which that is what the Apple Watch Ultra has. And again, the Apple Watch Ultra costs 3 times as much. You're also missing out on the Apple U1 chip, which might hamper some Find My functionality, but it's not much. You'll get the same wireless kit, the same Bluetooth kit, the same overall usability. What's really important to me, you get the same safety features like crash detection and the emergency SOS mode. And I think crash detection, I know it has had some wonkiness in the iPhone lineup, but I think that feature by itself is worth upgrading from an older like 6, 7 to get that kind of feature in the SE. The other main thing you are missing out on isn't really something that you are missing out on per se, but you do get a slightly worse screen. And it's not really a worse screen because you'll still get 1000 nits of brightness and a high quality detailed retina panel. What you won't be getting is you won't get the always on display, and you will have more bezels compared to the newer options. But again, are those little upgrades worth almost twice the price? Are they? I mean, spoilers, I certainly don't think so, or those items would be included in this ecosystem, right? To roll it all up, we've got the iPad Gen 9 at $349, the iPhone 13 mini at $599, AirPods Gen 3 $169, and last but not least, the Apple Watch SE for $249, bringing us to a grand total of $1,366. And that is not cheap, but again, we're buying a whole system, and that's less than the cost of some MacBooks. And remember, that's $1,366 brand new from Apple. I bet if you looked around a little bit, you could find this for even less. But what about you? Are you someone that has tried to save the most amount of money on your Apple ecosystem? If so, let me know what you use in the comments below. And if you like this video, click here to watch the actual best overall ecosystem. Click, 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 click. Thanks for watching.